Hey guys, it's me Tilly, and today we are back with another Abyss Dungeon guide, this time featuring the Hall of the Twisted Warlord. You basically already played through this one during the Rohendel story, but this time all of the bosses are on crack, and they will wipe you if you don't know their mechanics. But thankfully that's why we are here. As with all of my Abyss Dungeon guides, I will only cover the main mechanics that will get you killed if not played correctly. I trust in your ability to dodge regular attacks without me telling you, hey, don't stand in that red flashing area that will otherwise damage you. You will manage. So the first boss features two enemies with separate HP bars, but you really want to make sure to kill both of them at the same time. Since the second the first one dies, the other one will enrage, and trust me, it hurts. We had it happen once, and all of us died within like, I don't know, 10 seconds or so. Yeah, so try to manage that a bit better than we did. Apart from this, there's really only one mechanic to keep in mind. However, it does require everybody in the party to pay some attention, and it also happens 2 times during the fight. It's when the bishop positions himself in the center of the arena, and the rook runs off to a random location on the outside. The bishop will start casting an AoE that just wipes out your party if not hit by the orb sent out by the rook. In order to achieve that, there will be one player marked by the rook's attack. You can see it on screen right now. I should have some footage how it looks if you are being targeted. And if you are that player, you basically have to line up with the rook, the bishop, and then you stand behind the bishop, basically making it so that the projectile attack from the rook doesn't hit you, but rather the bishop himself. Also, all of the 3 other players, please make sure to not stand in the way, just get some distance from the boss. I had it happen one time where I tried to DPS the boss while somebody else was targeted, and I ended up catching the orb on accident and I just wiped us out. Also, at the same time, all of the 3 other players not being marked by the attack will have this AoE zone underneath their feet, which doesn't damage them, but other players if they step inside. So for this, just really practice social distancing, don't hurt your teammates, and once the orb has connected with the bishop, you are then free to again go closer to the boss. The second time this mechanic occurs, there's a little twist to it, since there will be a bunch of chess pieces standing in the way of the rook's attack, so you will have to destroy them. Best case scenario, somebody who is not marked by the actual attack, so that the mark holder can already get into position, while the other 3 players carefully go to the chess piece who's standing in the way and kill it. I'm saying carefully here because you will again have these AoE zones underneath your feet and you don't want to blow up your team. With that being said though, it is fine to take some damage from this mechanic if it means you can get the chess piece kill that you need to kill. Because taking like 50% of your HP bar as damage, but managing to kill the chess piece is still better than not managing to kill the chess piece and just dying, right? That's a pretty obvious one. And that's basically already it for the fight. If you manage to get past the chess pieces part, it is really only about the possible enrage if you have poor damage split and you kill one boss like way sooner than the other, but just keep an eye out on both HP bars, maybe stop AoEing all too much when the bosses get low, and then you're already done with the first boss. Then there will be some trash mobs in between the bosses that are perfectly suited to take some time and hit the like button on this video. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more Lost Ark videos in the future. Thank you so much. As for the second boss, there are 2 variations of the same mechanic that he does, which is the stagger mechanic. So do make sure to equip your whirlwind grenades if not already happened. Long story short, these whirlwind grenades are consumables that whenever there's a stagger check, aka whenever there's this yellow bar underneath the boss, you just throw them and it helps you progress through this bar a lot. Let's talk about the 2 different stagger mechanics. Both of them appear 2 times, and the easy one is on the first and the third rotation, where he basically... It's just a basic stagger check, actually barely worth mentioning in this video. There's gonna be some AoEs and that you just have to dodge, but the phase is so quick that even if you get hit by like all of the AoEs, you probably won't die. And it's, as I said, the easier out of the 2 stagger checks, so if you ever want to save whirlwind grenades, it's probably during these. Maybe even during the first, because even if you fail the first, you could just retry right away, but you only get to use 3 whirlwind grenades per fight, and there's 4 stagger checks in this. So again, as I said, on the first one, try to not use them, and then you have 1 for all of the remaining stagger checks. Alright, let's talk about the more difficult stagger check that happens on 2nd and 4th rotation, and I like to refer to this phase as the swords. It's really the main reason why your group may die in this dungeon, and the mechanic happens at 15 and 5 bars of the boss. At the beginning of the mechanic, you need to spread out. Don't stand in a line with another player and the boss, but rather just go to different sides of the arena, because while the main objective is to stagger the boss before getting wiped, every player will be chased down by a spectral sword. While you are being chased by the sword, attacking or damaging the boss, even with items, so don't use your whirlwind grenades yet, will just get you killed right away. So you have to get rid of them as soon as possible. The way to do this is by simply walking into the small indicator, or just into this little circle underneath the sword. Once you've done that, every party member receives a debuff lasting for 2 seconds that again will instantly kill you if another sword is collected during the duration of the buff. That's why you should spread out, because if you stand like right next to another player, if you try to collect your sword, you collect his sword at the same time, and then you boom. So you really just have to time all of that pretty well. You pick one sword up, you wait for the debuff to run out, and then you pick up the next sword, or the next player picks up his sword basically. Once you collected your sword, you are free to unleash on the boss, and you need to do that right away. Don't wait for the debuff to end, just collect your swords and turn on the boss with all that you got, because the time to stagger him is actually pretty low. We actually failed a bunch of times just getting him staggered. Then again, I don't even know if all of my random teammates did use the whirlwind grenade, but that should be your first thing. Pop the whirlwind, use your highest stagger abilities, and then kill him. Let's talk a bit more about collecting the swords. There's really 2 ways for you to check and to know if it's fine for you to collect the swords. If you're the first in rotation, then really just walk into them. You have like the easiest job. Again, I would recommend you to go by party order, check the left side of the group UI and see the yellow number next to your name to see if you're first, second, third, or fourth. And for everyone who's not first, there's really, again, 2 ways that I can suggest you to go about it. Either you take a real close look at the party UI, because there is gonna be a purple debuff, I will show it on screen right here, that once it disappears, you are free to pick up your sword. However, if you don't like the party UI, if it's maybe a bit too clustered with a bunch of buffs and debuffs, there is another visual cue that you can go off of. I will again show it right here on screen. Once somebody else in the room, he doesn't even have to be on your screen. That's why you can spread out like crazy in this phase as well. Once somebody else collects his sword, there's going to be this big flash of light on screen right here. I'll show it a few times. And then a few seconds later, when the debuff times out, there's going to be another visual indicator right on your character. Again, it's going to be shown a few times right here on screen. And once you see that indicator, you know that you, or the next, whoever is next in line, can pick up his swords. So pick whichever one you like more. I myself used the group UI, but then again, we didn't have as many buffs going during that phase. And I also only really spotted the visual cue after having done the dungeon, so yeah. But if you get past this sword mechanic for the second time, you're pretty much done with your third Abyss dungeon. Congratulations to you! And with that also being done, we are finished with the video for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to visit me over on Twitch if you want to. Otherwise, I hope you're having an awesome time, and I see you in my next video. Until then, bye!